You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by the National Association of Convenience Stores.
And welcome to Convenience Matters. My name is Jeff Leonard. I'm with the National Association of Convenience Stores, and what we talk about are matters related to convenience stores because, as we know, consumers, 160 million a day, go to convenience stores, so convenience certainly does matter.
And I'm John Eichberger with the Fuels Institute NACS, and we always talk about stuff that fuels you, whether it fuels your body, your car, whatever keeps you going. We're there 24/7 in the convenience industry to make sure you're taken care of every step of the way.
Now, one of the things we want to talk about today is community and the role that we play in communities, particularly with kids. The old mindset with convenience stores was, if you have more than two kids outside or three kids outside, better put a sign up. You can't have that. We don't want them there. It's going to be trouble. And that's really shifted over the last couple decades. We know that the younger consumers are great consumers. They come to our stores a lot. And the other element is we are part of every community in the country. And it's important when you are part of every community that you're part of it in every level. And that means oftentimes helping people in distress. So our guest today is Lori Jackson. She's the president and CEO of National Safe Place. So welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share information about Safe Place and talk about how convenience stores play a role in the work that we do, creating a safety net for young people in the community.
Yeah, so Jeff, I know you've been involved in this. Is my first time interacting with you. Can you kind of, for my own benefit and probably our audience too, kind of summarize what is National Safe Place?
Well, National Safe Place works with communities, all of those folks in communities, so youth service providers, convenience stores, funders, to create a safety net for young people. So we know that kids going to school have lots of issues, families have lots of issues, and sometimes those issues create a crisis for a young person, right? So they may need to leave home, they may be bullied at school, they may be abused, and there needs to be a place where they can go and request assistance. So National Safe Place really works with communities to license communities to provide that safety net. So anywhere a young person sees that Safe Place sign, whether it's in Tulsa or Kansas City or Seattle or Florida, they know that they can go in there and get assistance.
Okay, great.
Quick and easy.
Good.
And that you mentioned Quick Trip with a Q. QT is one of the members, and they're on the board of National Safe Place Network. If you go past a QT or go past another place that is a member and affiliated with Safe Place, you'll see these the same color as a yield sign,
right? But
they're yellow and they say Safe Place. And the idea is, let's just say somebody has a need. There's part of human trafficking. It could even be the kids that you see that are walking up and down the streets in the summer months that are selling magazine subscriptions or other things. They could be doing it because they were kind of tricked into something where they can't get out of for a while. Finding a safe place is a way to get them out of it in a safe way.
Right. We see young people that are trafficked either in the sex industry or in the labor industry. They're really coerced, right? There's something held over their head. So they believe that if they don't do something, they won't get fed or they won't get taken to the next place, or right? So anywhere that they see that sign, they know they can go in and get assistance. And so we work with communities as well to educate young people that this is something that you can do no matter what. We educate adults because we all see young people across the community, right? All of the convenience store operators, all of the customers even, we want them to know what that means. So as they see young people, they can direct them there too if there's a need.
And a lot of us grew up in households where we can't really fathom that that's what it's like. But that is what it's like for a lot of people, where they really find they're in a situation that they can't believe they're in. And so can you take us through what happens? Let's just say somebody goes to a convenience store or goes to another place that's affiliated with National Safe Place. What's the process from there?
So if a young person goes in, they know that if they go to the clerk or the librarian or the fire station or wherever and just say, I need a safe place or I need assistance, then the staff at those locations are trained to call the local licensed agency. And they will send out a volunteer or a staff person to come and meet with that young person, talk about what's going on, and then either transport them to a safe location, to a shelter, or provide them referral information. And sometimes that's all a young person needs, is to be heard, is somebody to listen to them. and then get information about where else they might go or how else they might connect with services. And it really is a great community service for young people and for families.
So what level of training is there? I mean, you mentioned the clerks will be able to call a designated person. Is it just that, or is it you want the facility to have a place for the child to go and sit and be safe and secure and kind of out of harm's way, or what's all involved?
Exactly. That's what we ask of our site. So if a young person comes in and says, I need help, then they will talk with them about a little bit of what's going on. We don't ask the young person or the clerk to get the whole story because they're running a business, right? They're trying to take care of stuff. And so they will provide them with the drink or a snack, have a location where they can sit and wait. Sometimes that's in a back room. Sometimes that's right there. But they want to make sure that they're safe. Because the other thing that sometimes happens, depending upon the young person and the situation, is if somebody's following them, right? Or if they're being trafficked, their perpetrator may be following them or may be waiting. And so we want to make sure that there's a safety net for those young people and for the store or the site.
And so that's really, with convenience stores being part of communities, it's excellent that somebody can say, even if they feel under duress, I'm just going to go inside and get a drink.
That's exactly the case, that they can just say, I need a soda, I need a Gatorade, I'm going to get a donut, whatever, and they can go in and get assistance. And that happens, more than you might think.
The other important part of that, whether you're talking about a fire department or particularly a convenience store, you're talking about 24-hour operations. And if you are in a situation that you need to escape, oftentimes a lot of other places are closed because the bad guys don't go to sleep till late, and then by that time every place else is closed, but convenience stores are there. So the 24-hour operations can really play a positive role in communities.
Right, exactly. One of the things we talk about with young people is it's really the continuum, right? So it might be that young person that got a bad grade in school and isn't sure how that's going to go at home. It might be somebody who's being bullied at school and so can go to the convenience store after, or the fire station, the library after. It might be that date gone bad, right? So Safe Place has been around since 1983, so well before cell phones, right? But so young people were able to go into stores before phones. But even now, if you're in a situation where you don't know where you are, you can't get help, you can always go where you see that sign and get assistance, as well as, the other end of the continuum. I'm being severely abused or beaten or whatever. So
how are you making sure that the children know about Safe Place? What's the education things? I mean, granted, it started in 83. Jeff and I weren't in school. I wasn't in school much longer after that. But how are you making sure they know to look for the Safe Place logo?
Well, and part of our partnering with communities is not just about funding sites, but really partnering with what we call outreach folks. And so many of our agencies have folks that go into the schools and talk about different things, the disadvantages to running away or how you might find assistance and what's going on. And so we work to educate all of the schools. We work to educate all of the counselors. Many counselors' offices are Safe Place sites as well. So once, we've done some work with Channel 1, which is an education television program that plays in the schools in the mornings. So we really work in all of those facets. And social media is huge. I mean, what we hear from kids is they hear from other kids. This is where, you can go if you need help or if you need assistance.
And you mentioned cell phones, and you mentioned the other ways that kids communicate. Anybody who has a teenager knows that they often don't talk a lot to you, but they are on their phones a lot, and the one thing they do in particular is they text. And you have a program that's affiliated, so you don't have to necessarily see the sign to know you can find a safe place. You also have a texting program.
We do have a text for help program, so young people can text their location to 69866, and they can get back the closest Safe Place location to where they are, but they can also then reply with to chat, and they can get connected to our call center, which is based out of St. Louis, and it's staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by master's level mental health professionals. And the other thing that kids like is that anonymity, right? So I can remain anonymous, but I can say, this is what's going on with me and how might I get help or where might I go? And that's been really successful. And we've seen that increase like 30% in the last, year. And that's the other thing, that as we work with sites, they can all share that information. So if a young person doesn't want to wait for somebody, one of the things that as we train sites and we provide a site training video for everybody, that they can also make that referral. Say, if you have a phone, you can text this. And so that's really exciting for us, as we've seen that grow in the last few years.
So my assumption is your goal is to have as many safe place facilities in every community in the country. There's really no upper level. Anybody who wants to get involved and wants to go through this and partner with you guys,
Right.
you're encouraging that.
Right. Give us a call. We'll do what we can to work with you. And, we license a entity in each community. And so if there's communities we're not in and folks are interested, then we ask that they call the office. We'll work with them. We'll come to a community meeting. We like to bring United Way to the table, youth funders to the table, education, potential sites, and talk about how's this going to work in your community? What are the things that we need to do to make that happen? And, one of the things that we say a lot is, why wouldn't you want your community to be a safe place for young people? Why not,
I mean,
right?
who can answer, I wouldn't want that.
Right, exactly.
Right. So in terms of your community partners, I'm assuming the police are very much engaged, correct? Mm-hmm. So the police, counselors, and a variety of firefighters, a variety of associations
Absolutely.
like that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And in terms of our industry, it just does check a lot of boxes in terms of things that have mutual benefits. The 24-hour operations are available around the clock, available in every community in the country, a place where young people go, and convenience stores increasingly are saying, how can we give back to communities in meaningful ways? Not just give back to the community, but in meaningful ways. So it checks a lot of boxes. How do you know it's working? What kind of stories do you hear that you just say, wow, that was totally worth it after hearing that story?
Right. We have lots of great stories that come out. And I'll certainly echo, before I tell a story, your case about convenience stores care. And as we hear from clerks, we see these kids anyway, and this provides us with an avenue to provide guidance to them or provide information to them. So we don't see them, without being able to provide assistance. So we might see the same young person in the store every day and know that there's something going on. And with this program, we're able to share information and get them help. So there was a young man, or we had a story from one of our stores that there's a young man that was sitting outside on the step. And it was interesting that a female customer came in and had seen this young person and was talking to them and came in to ask the clerk, do you have a pen and a paper? I want to write down some information for this young person. He's really struggling outside and they just want to share. And the convenience store clerk was able to say, we have a program for that. We can help bring them in. And we're able to connect them and get services. And then the young person came back and said, I really appreciated that because that's what I needed. And so just stuff like that makes you feel good. We've had other instances where there was a young lady who came into a store who was being followed and was really nervous and was really scared and was able to say, I need some assistance. And they were able to, provide her with some safety and put her in a back room. And sure enough, the person following came in looking for her. And they were able to say, yeah, don't know what you're talking about, can't, or, we're not able to help you. And so providing that safety was key for that individual.
And so it just takes anybody that's in retail or in any business. You want to take somebody who's having a bad day and help them have a good day.
Right.
What this is taking somebody and potentially changing their life for the positive.
Absolutely.
And let's put this a little bit in context in terms of size and scope. You've described a whole bunch of scenarios where somebody may need a safe place to go. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of our listeners who probably are not aware of the magnitude of the dangers of human trafficking and the other big picture items. Can you provide a little context as to how big of an issue is this and why should our audience really be paying attention and getting involved to help eradicate the problem?
Sure. So as we talk about runaway and homeless young people across the United States, there are anywhere from 1.6 to 2.3 million kids that are homeless on any, across the year, right? We have heard numbers from 250,000 to 500,000 that are trafficked in this country every day. That's a huge number, right? And so sometimes they're trafficked by their boyfriends or their families or, gang members, but they're out there. And so you don't know who you're looking at, right? Mm-hmm. And they look like your neighbor sometimes. They look like kids in the community. And so, that between trafficked in the sex trade and labor-wise, magazine crews and different things, being promised something. I was promised this job, but now I'm not getting paid. Those are huge numbers when you think about, kids across this country. And so wanting to make sure that there's a place where they can get help if they need to, when they need to.
I've seen a lot of the billboards and posters at airports,
yes,
kind of raising awareness. I would assume it's making a big difference in terms of raising awareness of the problem.
Certainly awareness continues to be something that we want to grow and to spread, right? But young people leave because of problems at home, and if we're not able to connect with them early, so if we can connect with them at a safe place early when they first leave, then we can lessen the likelihood that they're going to become a victim, right? Or have to turn to something else to perpetrate crime to survive. Right. So sometimes they're ending up trafficked because they need a place to stay. And so if only if I have sex with these people, then I have a place to stay tonight.
Right.
And, and that's tragic.
So getting them right at the cusp, but they're starting to go down the spiral is the key. I think the more locations we have that are engaged in a safe place, the more organizations kind of partner with you in the outreach of the schools, that can only help.
Right. Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
We certainly appreciate all of the help when we have convenience stores across the country that take part and participate with us in this effort. So whether it's Seattle or Las Vegas or Louisville or Jacksonville.
And we got 150,000 in the country, so the more that we get lined up, the better off we are.
Absolutely. We can always use more. So.
Right.
And that includes any business, whether it's a convenience store or whether it's one of our supplier partners. There's a role that we can play here because these people in need also need temporary housing, temporary shelter, and some of the resources that go along with this. I'm glad you mentioned the numbers or asked about the numbers, John, because that's 1% plus of the U.S. population is in peril that can be helped by a program like this, and it is a big deal.
I'll tell you, one of the first times I learned about the magnitude of it was actually having dinner with a member of Congress from Missouri, and she was telling me what passionate she was about this issue. She was giving me some numbers. I was blown away. I had no clue, living in my own little bubble. I had no idea how prevalent this was and how predatory it was in normal suburban upscale neighborhoods. It's still a problem. And I think a lot of people look at this issue and go, oh, that's an urban, poor community that's not in my bag. No, it's happening everywhere. Shopping malls are areas where they're trolling for new kids. And if we're not paying attention to our own neighborhood, what are we doing?
Right. Well, and even rural communities. I mean, there is a huge need for services and awareness in rural communities. And sometimes convenience stores fill that need.
Right.
So having a safe place, if that's a convenience store in a rural community, might be the only place that those kids can go. Right? So it's huge.
Yeah.
So look for any of those yellow yield sign-like signs that say safe place. And Lori, how can they find you online?
Well, certainly they can go to our website, which is nationalsafeplace.org. They can give us a call. Our number at the office is 502-635-3660. Happy to hear from everybody. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you.
Lori, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening to Convenience Matters.
You've been listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. For more information about the National Association of Convenience Stores, go to nacsonline.com.